The first thing the woman did after her rebirth was to turn her husband who had faked his death into a eunuch. Only after confirming her husband was completely castrated did she finally put down the bloodstained dagger. The reason the woman was so ruthless was because in her previous life she had been a noble goddess who knew that on their wedding day her husband would suddenly die. From then on she was cursed as a jinx who brought death to her husband. The emperor even stripped her of her goddess title and demoted her to a slave. So for 10 years the woman sold all her dowry to pay off her husband's debts. But her patience came to an end on this day. On this day she was suddenly hit by a carriage. When she saw the man stepping down from the carriage, the woman was instantly shocked. Her husband, who was supposed to be long dead, was actually alive. But the scumbag wanted to flee the moment he saw the woman. The woman immediately rushed forward to question him, only to be pushed away mercilessly by the scumbag. It wasn't until the woman saw the scheming mistress get off the carriage with a child that the scumbag finally confessed the truth. It turned out the scumbag had only wanted her dowry from the beginning, so he faked his death to make her remain a widow and pay off his debts. Only then did the woman realize how ridiculous her 10 years of devotion had been. So she rushed forward frantically demanding justice from the scumbag, but was kicked down by the scumbag and hit a stone pillar. Looking at their ugly faces, the woman died with despair and unwillingness. Unexpectedly, the next second she was reborn to the day before her marriage to the scumbag. At this time the emperor was suffering from illness, but the imperial physicians in the palace were helpless, so they summoned the goddess to seek a remedy. The woman remembered that in her previous life the emperor had searched for famous physicians throughout the land to treat his illness, but none were effective. At this moment the woman came up with a revenge plan. She claimed that if the emperor wanted to be cured, he must use the heart's blood of someone with an innate spiritual body as medicine, and her fiancé happened to possess an innate spiritual body. The woman also predicted that he would die suddenly on their wedding night. The emperor was overjoyed upon hearing this, and immediately ordered the woman to extract the blood on their wedding night to make the medicine. Unexpectedly, as soon as the woman left the palace, she saw the scumbag waiting for a long time. At this moment the scumbag pretended to greet her affectionately. Other officials all praised the couple's devotion. After returning home, the scumbag hurriedly conspired with his mother, planning to take a fake death drug once the dowry arrived, then leave with the scheming mistress, leaving the woman to bear the crime of killing her husband. Little did they know they would soon pay a terrible price. Soon the wedding day arrived. At this time a servant brought news that the groom had suddenly died. The woman, who had anticipated this situation, calmly came to the main hall, then pretended to grieve and ran to the bedside to ask the doctor about the situation. The doctor shook his head, saying the scumbag had died suddenly from overwork. The scumbag's family immediately burst into tears and began to accuse the woman of being a jinx who kills husbands, demanding that she remain a widow for the scumbag for life. Unexpectedly, the woman ignored their accusations and, pretending to be heartbroken, threw herself on the bed and slapped the scumbag. The scumbag couldn't help but move his finger from the pain. This scene happened to be witnessed by the guests. The mother-in-law quickly pushed the woman away, fearing the fake death would be exposed, then accused the woman of desecrating the corpse. The mother-in-law then performed a suicide attempt by hitting the wall, but the woman showed no emotion whatsoever, because she knew the mother-in-law wanted to force her to agree to remain a widow, so they could seize her dowry to pay off debts. Unfortunately, their plan was destined to fail. The woman not only denied the crime of killing